situation is better comparatively. Safety and security of the tourists are assured thanks to the government and the people who have chosen the path of a conducive development. We believe it is a high time to scale up tourism sector and encash its best potential, which can address economic and social concerns of Northeast society. In our course of interactions with the stakeholders, a major concern that has been echoed by all is that lack of data capture may be of tourist footfalls, tracking of tourist flows, the preferred choices of tourism like ecotourism, adventure tourism, sports tourism, religious tourism, and more. How a tourist contributes to the economy in different phases, starting from the flight he takes, taxis, hotels he stays, the food he consumes, and the merchandise he buys during his stay in Northeast is not captured data-wise. This is where the tracking of a tourist and its contribution to the economy is missing. At the other hand, few northeastern states require to have inner line permit where a tourist is made to apply ILP for separate states for his or her visit. Can't we have a unified system where the tourist is being provided an easy access to a portal where we can opt for application of ILP for 2-3 states altogether? Or his data may be shared with states and have an easy flow of ILP application procedure. The whole roundtable discussion is being planned to address how IT can play an intervening and crucial role in providing a seamless experience to the tourist with data at the core. I believe the outcome of the deliberation we are having today will contribute in revisiting the policies of government in tourism and facilitate in exploring to its fullest strength. Thank you for joining us and have a good time in Shillong. Thank you for this all.
Thank you, sir, for setting the tone for the roundtable discussion. Now I request Professor D.P. Goel, sir, IIM Shillong, to enlighten us with his words. It is under his aegis that we could initiate this program. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Masterji, Chief Guest of the Day, all the dignitaries from NEC, donor, and other distinguished guests, faculty colleagues, officers, staff of IIM Shillong, and ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the organizers, Dr. Abdul Kalam Center, of course it's IIM Shillong, for inviting me and giving this opportunity to interact with you. See, without any doubt, I think that it's very, very important subject which we are talking or we will be discussing in the next 2 days. How we can make tourist experience, which is really a seamless experience, not for one state, that suppose any tourist wants to come to Meghalaya, or any tourist wants to go to Arunachal Pradesh, any tourist wants to go to Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim. It's not like that, because it is the northeastern region that a tourist would like to plan his visit, his or her visit, to visit this beautiful landscape of the country. And northeastern region is really blessed to have all this natural beauty. And if we really just want to focus on the tourism sector, as we all know, that it is one of the emerging sectors, service sector in India. And it has got a lot of potential. If you just look at a few years now, in the recent years, as Dr. Nigombar was also mentioning, that northeast region has done a lot of progress. Lot many developments we can see, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's tourism, whether it's hospitality. So, in other words, yes, we have done a lot of work. But the question is it sufficient? Why people need to go to visit Europe or American countries? Why we need to always talk about Switzerland? I don't think that we are less than any Switzerland in India itself. It's, what is required is that let us just try to understand that what is really required, what are the limitations, challenges, and then what can be done. Of course, we have come a long way as far as government is concerned, but again, we need to go a long, long way. Because what is really important is that just tourism in the northeastern regions, it would provide biggest advantage to the country. Like for example, connect of northeastern states as as well as other states of the country. And then we have got international boundaries with us. Why? We can always have, like for example, health tourism. And then we can also tell about the cultural heritage, the community here, the compassion which is really required in these, especially these times. I think not much can be done just if we focus our attention on the tourism sector. So as far as northeastern region is concerned, a lot of beauty, and there are other avenues which are there, but limitations, for example, everybody understands. We have been doing many cases, many studies, but then every time, probably, we do not many studies. Last time I remember, Masterji was mentioning about that there have been a large number of studies, and now probably the need is study of the studies, because we need to implement. It is just not only planning. Last time during COVID, as Dr. Nigamur has also mentioned, that we had organized various such interactions just to understand different verticals. Tourism was also one of that sector. And we discussed with many of the stakeholders. There were service providers, tourism service providers, many other organizations, also the government organizations, the policy makers, because what is required in order to do something, if we understand that these are limitations, these are the challenges, what is really required is top management support. Top management means country's topmost focus. Of course, we are lucky that these days it is there. And now, donor ministry is doing all out efforts. NEC is, of course, there for last so many years. And NEC role is to integrate all the northeastern states. And that is probably the biggest role that NEC is playing. And today's this roundtable discussion again talks about the seamless experience of the tourist, not only just in one state, rather through the northeastern states. Because we need to market northeast state, northeastern region as such. It is just not one state. Because we need to integrate the northeastern states, and we need to work on the synergy so that we can really have 2 plus 2 should not be is equal to 4, rather it should be much higher than 4. So this is how that I would just like to explain or just elaborate my one experience, which is really very important, and also come to know that what really Shillong can really do or is doing. Last time on 25th of April, we have just launched our satellite center at Kalam. It is an outcome of an MOU signed with government of Arunachal Pradesh. And when I was traveling through by road, then I could find out that at a longer distances, there is no washroom facilities. And also, because we got delayed, and then during late hours, there was even on the road, it was not safe to travel because of the clouds, or that it was a lot of the visibility is not very much there. And then what we could observe is the reflectors were not there on the roads. So when we were interacting with the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, then this feedback was shared with him. And then immediately he called all the concerned officials just to say and implement these 2 important feedback of us. And that is that immediately we should have good washrooms facilities at regular intervals, and also put the reflectors just on the roads. He called the BR and he called the other planning and other officials, the deputy commissioners of those areas. And then we also discussed the models, that how these washrooms should be sustainable. Because many times we have observed that we do something today, and then after some time, after 1 year, 2 years, maintenance is not there. And then it dies its own natural death. So this is, again, I think that as a management institute, because Dr. Abdul Kalam Center is there, and we can understand the challenges, the problems, and then what should be done as a roadmap in the next 1 year, next 3 years, next 5 years. Because it has to be a sustainable solution. It is just not only a reaction based. Rather, we need to be proactive in our approach if we are really serious. Because many times, solutions, they don't need funding. It is only just mindset. Just as I just mentioned, reflectors, for example, don't need much funding. And then even a facility of washrooms is also was given to the various people who were having some shops in between. And then just like the different models which are self-sustaining. So what I am trying to say is many times it's not the funds. Rather, it is the sensitivity, it is the sensitization, it is the awareness, it is that how we can take on the solutions. So because whenever we want to have some change is really painful because nobody wants to come out of the comfort zone. So if we just are very, very clear that yes, it is much better, it could be much better than Switzerland, than other destinations, then, and also not only the Indian tourists we can attract to this region, rather even the tourists from the foreign countries, they should also be visiting us. Just look at the advantages, just look at the economy that we would be having. And so this is what I think that we have been discussing many times, but immediate solutions we need to do, and then as far as I am Shillong, Dr. Abdul Center is concerned, we can have some studies, we can get the feedback from the different stakeholders, and then immediately provide this feedback. As I have just taken an example to providing feedback to the Honorable concerned stakeholder like the Honorable Chief Minister of the state. So if we just give that feedback mechanism based on that what actually is required, what is the policy, whether the policy is really giving benefit to the people or not, because policies are the people, but at the grassroots, whether we are able to give that advantage to the last mile of, so I think that this becomes very important. And I'm Shillong, being the premier management institute, it is, as you all know, it's the 7th IIM in the country. Today we have got 20 IIMs, but IIM Shillong is the 7th IIM, and it is just not only for the Meghalaya, rather we have the only one IIM, as if we just go with the location, that was a national importance institution, but we just go with the location. All other states are having one each IIM, but in the entire northeastern states, having 8 states, there is only one IIM. And that's the reason that why we stand committed that we should be doing something first for the locals, only then, of course, we have to go global. So this is what, that as far as IIM Shillong is concerned, can really contribute in various spheres. Dr. Sanjeev just mentioned about, can't we have a portal? I don't think that there should be any problems in that. Immediate, I think, need is that NEC donor or IIM Shillong can be a, just the here the knowledge partner there, and we can also develop a portal which is an integrated portal, so that the ease of, like for example, as a tourist, I want to plan, but I don't know where IRP is required, where IRP is not required. So, and then if there's a one single portal, interior portal, which would give us all the detailed information. It's not outdated information, rather it is updated on real-time basis. That anything happens, anything changes there, immediately this portal should take care of. Otherwise, what happens? That why credibility is not there? If we are having so many portals many times, but then these are not properly maintained. That's the reason that we might be getting some outdated information from those portals. What is the need is that we need to have a very dynamic, integrated portals, giving all this information, that what are the hostels, hotels available, where I can stay, what the safety points, hygiene, and then besides this, we can also talk about the global standards of hospitality industry. Because this is again, there's so many stakeholders are sitting here, service providers are here, and this is again we need to do that a lot of business opportunities are there, but probably we need to understand the real challenges and then the real solutions. Just ad hoc approach many times which we take because immediate profit or immediate surplus we need. But I think that if we just look at the long-term initiatives, long-term benefits, long-term ROIs, also it becomes a strategic for the government of India. That's why many times we talk about PPP, that is public, government and private partnership. I think that this should be that where we can take up such long-term initiatives which are strategic for the importance of the country. I think that we can really do a difference in this initiative, which is really very, very important. We can target many problems just by promoting or developing tourism industry. Like for example, unemployment. So many people, so many places, we don't find any guides available. Just look at that. We are not having organized standards of the service. in the hospitality. Tourism, for example, I want to go, I want to visit, but these days it is the age of services. If we can provide those services and then also we market it properly, I don't think that any reason would be less than any other beautiful country in the world. Because I think that we should be blessed, we are blessed and we should be proud of this region. And I will appeal here, all the officers, advisors and secretary have been sitting here, and also the donor ministry and even the other ministries concerned, that let us join hands, let us do something. Like for example, the model I was just talking about, government of Arunachal Pradesh, out of the partnership, and where we have conducted all the 26 deputy commissioners. Because when we were discussing with the Honorable Chief Minister of the Arunachal Pradesh, we mentioned that if we really want to make a difference, it has to be the top level of the implementation state. That is the deputy commissioner. And deputy commissioner, we need to sensitize deputy commissioner, we need to tell them that what is the purpose of their being there in different states, in different districts. And with the leadership, with the compassion, with some other like communication and all these real governance issues, we could make 5 years training program. It was a really grand success. And they wanted now similar such trainings more and more. So I think that this model, it should not be only for Arunachal Pradesh, rather the need is that we need to replicate this model so that only 26 DCs from one state should not be sitting in one classroom. Rather, there should be a mix of different deputy commissioners, different project managers, different mid-career officers sitting from across all the 8 states and then slowly the other states as well. I think that this is how we can really learn from the best practices of other states, and then we can always implement those models in our states. At the end of the day, who is going to benefit? It is at the end of the day, my country. So this is how that with these words, thank you very much for inviting me to this inaugural ceremony, and thank you for all that you could make it to this 2 days roundtable conference. Once again, thank you and welcome to I am Shillong and to Shillong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and always be a source of encouragement for us. Now I request our Chief Guest, Shri Moses K. Chalai, IAS Secretary NEC, to address the gathering.
Good morning and namaskar to everyone. Professor D.P. Goyal, respected Director of IIM Shillong, Sanjeev, the Center Coordinator for APG Kalam Center here within IIM, and the various dignitaries and also the the distinguished participants from different parts of the region, and also students and particularly the practitioners, I can say Bhavla and others, who are into this this sector for the longest time. It's good to be here, and I'm thankful that I have been invited. This is perhaps my second, third visit to IIM. Of course, it was during the time when of course a formal meeting happened during when it was in Lunthumai. Of course, visited when this beautiful institution was coming up, and I must tell that I was adequately impressed and even fascinated by this beautiful campus, and with a lot of love and care Dr. Goyal and team is building up. And I'm sure that the institution is doing very well and will even do better with this wonderful and beautiful environment that they have now in place. Well, I will not get into technicalities because I'm sure that all those things will come up, and all the data, I'm sure that they will come up in the 2 days thing. So I'll just touch upon some of the main important, or rather some of the points that I think is important for us to understand and appreciate the tourism sector in the region. We all know that we are disproportionately getting the number of visitors in the Northeast region. And given our size of the land and even the population and what we have, the variety and the diversity that we have and which we can offer to visitors. That's very, very well known. Less than 1%, maybe 0.5% or less is what we receive of visitors, even though it is increasing. It's increasing because yesterday I went up to Shillong peak site after we just drove up like that, random driving. And we saw many visitors sprawling all over. Okay. So in a sense that visitors are coming, but then it's getting skewed. Visitors are there in good numbers in Sikkim. Sikkim, I think, receives about 2-3 times of the population in a year, the number of visitors. Maybe there are days when they'll be very happy without visitors. It can really clog and bog down the whole city, towns because of the too many visitors. And Meghalaya receives a good share, perhaps again not equitable within the state. And Assam, in its own way, receive visitors, but the other states are of different level and varying degree, and again far from what it can attract and bring these tourists and the visitors. As Professor Goel and Sanjeev also, as Dr. Sanjeev has also mentioned quite a few things. I don't need to repeat, but it is true that quite a few things are already happening in the region. This year alone, we have a budget of about 68,000 crores of GBS, 10% GBS being devoted for Northeast. There is 10% gross budgetary support from non-exempted ministries and departments. 10% of the budget will go for Northeast. It's another thing that we are not able to, and the ministries are not able to fully deploy and utilize those funds. But many ministries are coming up quite well. It's over and above the state revenues of their own revenues and the share of revenues that they get from the central government, the divisional pool of the resources and the taxations and other revenues that come along. So all put together, huge fund is flowing into the region. We are getting close to $10 billion in a year from different ministries, over and above what the states on budget, and it's not a small amount. Please talk to Sri Lanka and Pakistan. They will they will be amazed, and they'll say, all our problems of this world will be solved with the kind of money that Northeast is getting. And when we deploy such big amount, things are bound to happen on the ground. Okay, sometimes things may not exactly go the way we want to. Maybe wastage also takes place. Different things takes place, perhaps, at different level. But let me tell you, they all are improving, and therefore there's on the ground we see huge development of infrastructure. The roads, the railways, the civil aviation that has improved over the last 10 years, 20 years, maybe more of recent past is significant and visible on the ground. We can always argue that more needs to be done, and we all agree that more needs to be done. And we all will say that yes, it is still not reaching nook and corner, very, very correct. But at the same time, huge transformation is happening on the ground. Now, this brings us to one challenge. And I'm very happy that this has been properly appreciated and realized from the top to say, even from the level of Honorable PM and Honorable HM and my minister, and everyone is beginning to realize one thing. while this huge infrastructure development is taking place, the economic transformation in terms of income, in terms of livelihood activities, in terms of job generation is not catching up. And it's, in fact, sometimes it's depressing. Depressing. Why? Because hundreds and thousands and lakhs of youths are going outside the region to different parts of the country. Even some of them are going abroad. I think those are even the luckier ones. To different parts of the country to do what? Many of them. I would say most of them, perhaps, maybe most of them, or maybe many of them, maybe some of them. Now English, we don't know what is some, many, and most. But we all understand. There's no number. You know? So most, many, and so on. So okay, we'll not get into that debate. So many of them are, what are they earning? Nothing. Enough to just keep their soul and body together and no savings and struggle. Why? Because there is no opportunity here. This is a sad reality. Because one thing is that I cannot eat the roads. I cannot eat buildings and bridges and everything that flies. You know? I cannot eat aeroplanes also. I have to eat something. And that has to happen with income being generated. This is one huge area of concern, and I would like to say that tourism can step in. Tourism cannot be the answer for every of these needs, but it can be a substantial need. And therefore, we need to get into this where tourism can offer the potential, if not full, let it be even 20–30%. I think that's huge to begin with. Of the industry comes up, and that it will also lead to the generation of economy and the value chain that can happen, and also the employment generation and income that can come up. We need to do a lot, and I'm sure in the 2 days a lot will come up, how to smoothen the travel in Northeast. It's not easy. Sometimes we tend to give a lot of romantic and fanciful picture about Northeast. It is not. There are a lot of challenges and struggles on the ground. Let's be honest. The problem is that we are not, many times, not honest enough, and we look at either the extreme side of rosy picture or the extreme side of depressing, that unhappy story. But the two are not entirely right. It's need to be seen in balance. Therefore, Northeast got a lot of things that need to be smoothed out. The ILP is one area, like for instance, is a very sensitive political matter. I don't want to get into that. I have my own view, but I'm not going to say in public, at least not here. But the point is that, okay, when the ILP is there, how this can be smoothed in such a way that people, especially from the country, don't feel you were going to another country. No. Once that idea is there, then sorry, your tourism is got a hit, a kick, which is not good. So therefore, a lot of it needs to be smoothed out. Then, of course, the infrastructure. Then that whole lot of things. That so it's all of us coming together and connect the dots and put it together and see to it that it flows. But I also believe with Professor Goyal also that now the infrastructure and others have come up to some extent as to that we can start, because we cannot have a perfect situation to start anything. With limitations also, we start always in life, and that's how life goes about. Now, each state also has to build up on its own strength. Sikkim has got certain strength, and I think they've very beautifully marketed that and promoted that, and that's been happily accepted by the visitors, and they come, despite the miserable road traffic situation they can come and experience in Gangtok. Some of our friends who would visit, they were surprised, and then I said, why? Come on. And they also deserve the joys and sorrows of urbanization. I tell them, I mean, they were shocked that in a place like Sikkim, they thought it would be, happy hill station, but they said it's much worse than anywhere they've seen in the country. What I'm trying to say that the number of visitors they receive is because they have marketed it well. You know? And then Manipur, I'm from Manipur. So Manipur also can market certain, it's another very pretty state. I would say another very pretty state. A lot can be done, and that's the governor's is incidentally improving. I'm very, very happy about that, and I think much can happen. Also, one small example that, and of course, Assam has huge skills to offer. Brahmaputra, I think, is under kind of promoted. The tea tourism, I think, is highly underutilized, promoted. And of course, they have their religious, other circuit that they can bring about, and the what call that, this wildlife sanctuaries and other sanctuaries, wonderful sanctuaries that they have. So every state can move on its own, and Meghalaya, of course, is a very, very pretty state. Sometimes I just put my rucksack and just walk off. walk, and really get tired. And the best thing is that you are awarded with such beautiful sleep that night. That's one of the best reward that you can. Dead, tired, eat, and just crash. So that's one place where Meghalaya can always offer any one of us. And so a lot of things are there. The culture, the tourism culture that needs to be built up. I think Meghalaya is picking up quite a bit, and other states, in fact, needs to do much more. Now, one thing that I would like to say is that, say for instance, recently, Nagaland Tourism came and we have sanctioned and we are going to start soon a small project. They said off-roading tourism, off-O-F-F, roading, R-O-A-D-I-N-G, tourism. So what they do is that they select some of the bad batch of roads, and they're inviting adventure tourists, and many are turning up. And let me tell you, they are high-end, HNIs, high-value tourists. What they're going to do is that they'll just come to the airport, and the person will receive and hand over a SUV with 4x4 and said, okay, you either go by GPS and with this map, or you take a guide, and they just drive. And they just experience the bad roads with 4-wheel drive and reach here and there, and the whole, of course, that value chain is built up. In this village, you will get this place to stay. There is this kind of washroom. There is this kind of bed. You will get a bedroom like this, and the type of food that you will get, the people that you can contact, and and tourists have started coming. It's I'm very, very upbeat. And the tourism secretary says, look, he said, let me be honest. We don't have the kind of pristine beauty of even Meghalaya or many other places. We have rugged land. So we will make best of use of this rugged terrain, and then we put people on the job. But he said, we do have a population and tribals who are very, very friendly to visitors, and who treats guests with a lot of warmth. Nagas can be very warm actually. If you go to their villages, they can be very warm, and they can be very, very warm towards visitors, and that culture is there. So they said, we will take advantage of this and build it up. So this is also picking up, and I'm very confident it's going to pick up because they've already started it. So Nagaland has decided, okay, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this. We don't have what Assam has got, we don't have what Meghalaya has got, or any other places. But we have this, and we will take advantage of it. And the thinking is moving in that line. And everything will be on our portal and in the website to organize by a visitor before they come. So let's all get into this so that we can take this. And NER also has much to offer. Some of them, okay, I'll try to be brief. I think we're all a little overshooting, okay. The modern polo started in Manipur, and we have some of the rainiest places right here. People can always come, and people love to see the rivers, amazing rivers. Brahmaputra carries the 4th largest water volume in the world, as a river, and many are teas and days and beautiful scenic beauty, then the culture and the tradition and the history and the legacies that we can put in together. And also, I don't know how many of you are aware that mango originated from Northeast, in the world, part of Northeast and part of Myanmar. So we can also bring in a lot of this in the second. This also happened, and then ecotourism in a big way, of course. I don't need to go into that. Can happen. However, the tourism, as we all know, is getting tailored and segmented, and it will keep happening. Therefore, this is where we need to step into. It's within my family, my children. We all the way we want to go for outing. Everyone has got a little different perception of what they want to do. And it's not like when they were small kids and my wife and we will just take them to one place and they all run around and enjoy. No, now their sense of enjoyment is different of going out. So within a family, it is getting segmented. After some time, maybe my youngest son, when he grows up, he may have a very different view of what he would like to experience and see when he goes to a place. And my daughters will have a different idea. And we, as we get slightly elder by age, then we begin to have a different views. So this segmentation is going to happen even right within the family and among friends, and they will travel differently. So let's tap into this, tap into this growing scenario that we are. One is that Professor will also talk about the the portal. We are developing one digital tourism platform with Dingy, my colleague is here in ADC, and through her sector we're developing one is. And this, of course, very soon we should be start working on that. So we will develop a platform in which we take up one route, and the whole thing, the journey is taken through that, the whole axis is taken through with everything. I think this is a very common thing now, and nothing new in that sense. And then every information is given with photograph, video, and like all the information that is required, and the different options that can come up in a particular axis, in a particular route. And then other information, related information are given. The budget can be given, whom to contact, how to go about different routes of traveling. So, that the visitors, before she or he set out, is exactly knowing what she's looking for and what to do. So this is a platform that we are developing, and we are starting with only 3 routes now. That's only to develop the platform. But we will have provision to keep adding, and we will open this platform for any of you to add. However, of course, we will only insist that it will have to meet a certain level of standard. We cannot just throw in some photograph here and some inadequate information, certain level has to be formed, and then we can allow to be put in that platform. And then my dream is that after 2-3 years we have about 60, 70, 80, maybe hundreds of that axis, and the visitors come and say and pick up, say, this is what I was looking for. And so maybe just devoted to kind of adventure tourism kind of thing. So maybe just into rough and tumble kind of tourism, and nothing of this this pleasantry ones. And so this platform will be there, and once it is up and running, we will share, and we will go to, as I said, open for everyone. Put it, and so long, of course, we will only insist that we all follow a particular level of standard. So it's time that all the stakeholders come together, and we now these days in the government, the whole system insists on output and outcome, and we all know that. So even this round table, this this conference and this sitting together for the next discussion that will happen, let it be output and outcome oriented. And I would request Dr. Sanjeev and the team, who also, so, everyone is not coming for the sake of coming. We all are busy, our time is precious, and everyone is taking effort to be here. So if something does not move forward from here, then I think we are, sorry to say, we're wasting our time. We should not. Time is very precious. 1 day, 2 days, which is gone out of my life is not going to come back again. Simple. So no, but please continue to do more roundtables. don't get scared by what I'm saying. Continue to having different subjects. Let's continue to do that. I mean, it's a part of life, but it's also a part of that we consistently follow. And in India, we are not sometimes very good in this. Let me give 2 examples and conclude it. We tend to come together and and some occasions the chief guest leaves and then everyone leaves. And then it's typical. I mean, so we sometimes, I think, we're not professional enough sometimes. Let me tell 2 examples. Vietnam has developed very, very well in agriculture. One of the highest rice exporting countries. And they also pick it up in everything that you name it. But the story goes that in the beginning, decades ago, some of their students came to Pusa Institute in Delhi, and they learned. And what they learned from India, they kept applying, silently, they kept working, and they begin to get fantastic results. We also got fantastic results. So much so that there are too much paddy that burning in Punjab and Haryana. But I mean, that they tend to follow, and they did a great job. Also, Sri Lanka, of course, unfortunately is going through a very difficult time. It's a long story, but their tea is doing very, very well. And the story goes that some of them came and really picked up. They learned on the field and they learned from the books of the experience of tea industry, industry or tea cultivation in Assam. And they kept developing till they begin to overtake us in many, many aspects in tea. So we also, I mean, one thing is that the consistency of follow-up is very, very important. And I hope and wish that will happen. And I've taken a little time and your indulgence for giving me a little more time. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to always have you with us. Now I request Dr. Rilparna Hazarika to propose the vote of thanks.
It is an absolute honor for me to propose the vote of thanks for this wonderful event. I take this opportunity to thank everyone present here and has contributed to make this event happen. At the very outset, I wish to express my sincere gratitude and thank Mr. Moses Kechalai, Secretary NEC, for your warm gesture in accepting our invitation to be here with us now. Thank you, sir, for your encouragement. Your presence here has motivated and boosted our morale. I would like to thank our beloved Director, sir, for his continuous support and encouragement in organizing this roundtable discussion. Your continuous support and motivation has encouraged in taking us various initiatives. Thank you, sir. I thank Northeastern Council Government of India for being the patron of this roundtable discussion and for supporting and providing us with all the necessary and valuable resources for this discussion. My deepest sense of gratitude to Laru Dingi ma'am, advisor, Banking and Industries NEC, for her enormous cooperation behind this dialogue. My heartfelt thanks to all the resource persons who are here with us now to enlighten us with their profound knowledge. At the same time, I would like to take the opportunity to thank all the participating delegates for being with us to share their vivid experiences and their projects. My sincere gratitude to all the faculty members of IIM Shillong and all the staffs for their rock-solid support system and overall assistance all the time. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to thank all the organizing team members who went an extra mile and worked for their tail off and for their proactive involvement in making this event happen. Last but not least, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to the center coordinator for being the catalyst behind this event and standing as pillars of strength all throughout the time. With the deepest sense of appreciation, I thank you for your untiring zeal. Light tea and refreshment has been waiting for us, so kindly join us for a tea break. I request all the delegates to assemble here at 11 a.m. to begin with the technical sessions. 11:30. 11:15.
11:15.
Okay. Thank you all.